And roll over onto one side. Take a couple of breaths on your side. And come on up to your hands and your knees. And step your right foot forwards between your hands. And then come into a lunge so that your knee comes forwards of your ankle. So you're looking to stretch the calf here on the right leg. So you want your knee as far forward as it goes with your knee still feeling good. And your right heel down onto the mat. You might feel increased sensation in your left leg. You could have your left toes tucked under or the top of your foot on the mat, whatever suits. You might even have your hands on the block. That gives more space for your upper body. Notice any desire to rush in or rush out of the shape. You layer in the aspect of patience. Notice what's there. And take another 3 breaths. And then come out slowly. And press into the floor to straighten your front leg. And bring your block with you, or maybe you're using 2 blocks. And sit all the way back onto your 1 or 2 blocks in a way that both sitting bones are on the block or the props, and that your left knee is relatively comfortable. So this might be enough. Might be enough for your leg, your left leg, might be enough for the back of your right leg. Another option would be to fold forwards. If you feel like your right leg is sort of over straightening, the hyperextending, you might put a pillow, you could, or a block, you can put the bolster underneath your thigh, so your knee is supported as you fold down. Another 3 breaths. And slowly come up. And a couple of breaths upright. And slide the bolster out, or if you're using a prop underneath your right leg. And then lift up and bring your block with you. And then switch legs so your left leg is forwards. Adjust so that your knee comes forwards of your ankle to stretch your calf. You might lean one or both hands onto the block as you let your hips press forwards. In a shape where we're staying for a while. I advise not to go to sort of like your fullest right off the bat. This is a sort of a physical way we can practice patience. So you might be able to feel that, sure, your hips could go further forwards, but being patient in your approach, knowing that we're going to be here for a while. And if you just go right to your full maximum right off the bat, then there's nowhere to go. And ease into it and leave space and time. And another 3 breaths. And slowly and lift up. And put your props in place to sit all the way back. Both sitting bones supported. You might use your prop underneath your left leg. You might stay more upright, or maybe there's space to fold forwards. Whatever you do, see if you can approach with ease. Patience with your body. And with the other layers of yourself as you settle into stillness. And take another 3 breaths. And slowly come up. And a few breaths at the top. And come to seated on our knees. You might use 1 or 2 blocks. You might sit down onto the floor. So can stay seated upright, either on with your block underneath your sitting bones or your sitting bones resting down on the mat. Or you could start to lean back. So put the bolster behind me, give me a little bit of an extra height to be able to lie back onto the bolster and relax my upper body. So you might be able to lie all the way back on the mat. Be mindful of what your knees are telling you. And choose the position that feels appropriate for you and for your body this evening. If you're lying down with supported either by the bolster or all the way down onto the mat, you can play around with where you have your arms up as opposed to out to the side will create a different sensation in your shoulders and your back and in the front of your body. So choose the variation that suits you. Take another 3 breaths. So if you're back on the ground or on the bolster, come to your elbows so that you can prop yourself up onto your hands. And then come forwards onto your hands and your knees. A couple of options. You can take down dog and pedal your heels to the mat. Or you could extend your left leg back with your toes tucked under, straighten your leg, and just rock back and forth. So getting some movement in your hip, in your knee, and in your ankle. And after a few times on that side, extend your right leg and do the same thing. And then we'll come to seated on the sort of our left hip, your left hip with your knees bent out to the side. We'll put the bolster against your left hip. It doesn't have to be touching, can be a little bit further away if you want a bit more space. And then turn your upper body towards your bolster or your pillow and lay yourself down. So you might adjust your legs so that it feels good in your low back. You could keep both arms alongside the bolster, one arm up, one arm down. Just experiment what feels good. You might even turn your right cheek down towards the bolster. Breathe deeply for 3 more full rounds. And lift up slowly. A couple of breaths at the top. And switch. So your right hip is down towards the mat. Your legs are turned to the side. And turn your upper body towards the bolster and lie down. Another 3 full breaths. Now slowly untwist. And come to lie down on your back. You could put the bolster underneath the backs of your legs to support your knees, or underneath your calves. Kind of depends on what it feels like in your legs, what position will feel good. You can experiment. A little bit of a lift in your legs can help take any pressure off your low back. Also add sort of a feeling of weightlessness. So as you get yourself settled down on your back with your bolster in the right position for you, and bring your arms out into whichever position feels most comfortable. And move your head side to side. And rest in a place that feels easeful. You can allow your head to go really heavy, your eyes to close, your jaw to go slack. As you soften your throat, release any tension in your belly. And allow your legs to be supported by the floor or by the prop. As you settle into stillness. And take a deep breath in through your nose. And exhale all the air out of your mouth. Do this a couple more times at your own pace as you start to move your hands and your feet. And roll over onto one side. Bring yourself up to your comfortable seat. And bring your hands together in front of or on top of your heart. Take a moment of gratitude for coming together to practice this evening. An appreciation for the yoga practice itself and the long line of students and teachers that have come before us. And may practice serve you well.